The front page of the New York Times today implies that it is Donald Trump's fault he almost got assassinated on a golf course. The article reads, in part, quote, Mr. Trump's approach to golf, including his frequency of play and his overt preferences for a handful of courses, has posed especially steep challenges for the Secret Service. The Secret Service's acting director privately told Mr. Trump that the agency would need to take significant new steps to protect him if he continued to play. The warning from the agency raised the possibility that Mr. Trump could adjust where or how often he plays. Charlie, so I guess it's Donald Trump's fault for wanting to play golf?
Exactly. And, you know, first of all, let's just keep in mind, both of these assassination attempts could have been prevented with the most basic security, attention to detail. That's the problem. It's not that Donald Trump was giving a speech, he's supposed to, or that he was golfing. The other thing I think is really funny is that they specifically blame his overt preference for a handful of courses, suggesting that the real problem here is that he is Donald Trump, and he is a builder, and he has golf courses. The other thing is, if you read the story, and that big picture on the front page with the Secret Service agents, one of them is holding an Uzi on the side of the car, protecting Ronald Reagan. The story talks about how Ronald Reagan decided not to play golf anymore because it was such a difficult thing to protect a golf course, while golfing. And so suddenly the New York Times has found this great leader to look up to in Ronald Reagan after spending the last 45 years absolutely trashing him.
You know, Guy, we've also seen the media try to downplay this second assassination attempt. You had Lester Holt basically blame Trump's rhetoric for it. You had Bloomberg described it as the latest jolt in a chaotic campaign. NBC called it an incident. Why is it so hard for the media to condemn assassination attempts?
I think they'll do it very briefly at first, and then they don't want to really humanize Donald Trump or make him some sort of object of sympathy in the final stretch of a campaign that they desperately want to win for their party, namely the Democratic Party. On this golfing thing, Barack Obama golfed a ton. George W. Bush golfed a ton. Bill Clinton golfed quite a lot. Donald Trump loves to golf. Now, I understand you can make the argument that if you're going back to the same places over and over again, that does pose an operational security challenge because people can start to, figure out where someone goes and maybe plan something. On the other hand, you can make the argument, certainly just logically, if someone goes to the same places a lot, that would make it easier for the Secret Service to know how to secure those places because they have to do it a lot. And I'm sorry, if you're under Secret Service protection and you're a current or former president, the job of the agency is to protect you no matter where you want to go. So any sort of whining about Trump's preferences for a few golf courses, I think looks, at least to a lot of people, like more excuse-making for massive failures that I'm not really sure I buy have anything to do with resources. They didn't do the job properly.
Well, yeah, and if they can't defend Donald Trump, then what is the point of the Secret Service?
Yeah,
that's their entire job.
That's their entire job. You're right. And again, just back to this article, which is rather hypocritical, because in part of the article they're criticizing Donald Trump for being on the golf course, but then going over to the side and talking to reporters every once in a while. Yet later in the article, it goes on to say, during his 8 years in power, Barack Obama was a regular on a course in Washington with reporters and photographers following him to glimpse his rounds. So, I don't know. All presidents golf, to your point, and it is the job of the Secret Service to protect the president. I think that they should be able to do it.
Well, and the New York Post reported that Biden's taken something like 48 years of leave. I've not heard of the Secret Service telling him you can't go to Rehoboth Beach or, for the billionth time.
Right, that's very predictable. Going to the beach? He's going to the same beach again for the 17,000th time of his presidency? Whoa.
Yeah, or you have Axios criticizing Trump for not holding more campaign rallies when, the Secret Service can't even protect him golfing. So, it's a mess, all of it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.